Good tidings, fellow Earthlings, and welcome to League Unlock. Eric and Mark with you guys, and we've finally got some actual MSI content that we can preview because we had the group draw for the play-in stage, which gets starting at the start of May, and these groups are absolutely disgusting, Mark. They're disgusting.
Yeah, I am not liking the way that it worked out here in this group draw. You have so much power right off the bat here in one of these groups, and the other group, not quite so much power here, and so this is going to be not, I think, the best setup here for this play-in stage. And you got to remember here, when you're looking at all these play-in teams, and with a lot of respect here saying this, you're only wanting really a couple of these guys getting out here because you're having to think about who they're playing against and what they're going to be going up against here in these play-in matches against a team like a Team Liquid here. And this is where you're thinking to yourself, yeah, you're looking at Group A, you're looking at some of these teams, you're thinking to yourself, okay, they can put up a fight here, maybe in a best of series, find a way to get an advantage here. But when you're looking over to Group B, not looking as good.
I mean, Fenerbahce and Phong, those are the two best teams in play-ins. People thought that before this group draw. People still think that afterwards, and only one of them are going to be getting through this group stage, which is too bad. And even if you're talking about Isurus Gaming, I think if you throw them in Group B, they're probably one of, if not the favorites, to get out of that group. So the fact that all three of them are in that same Group A is pretty much insane. And again, it's the winner of Group A. The way the format works, whoever wins that one is going to be going up against Team Liquid in a best of series, and the winner of Group B will go up against Flash Wolves, and winners of that go to the main stage, and the losers play in another best of, and the winner of that. So three teams are coming from this play-in stage.
And now that's the important thing here, because when you look at it and when we're looking at those top teams, you're looking at a Fenerbahce and you're looking at Phong Buffaloes, you're thinking to yourself, good, we got those two teams. These are teams that I think are quality kind of, quote unquote wild card teams here to throw in and try to play their way in here, but you have to be finding this another team here, and you want it to be kind of this underdog story that we do see from time to time here. And I do think that a couple of these squads have the chance for it, but I think the way that the groups are split out here maybe won't play into that.
We're going to take a look at all 8 of these teams in the play-in stage, and you got to start with the best team coming in. Phong, I feel like they're just better than Flash Wolves. Coming into this event, I think you rate them higher because they look stronger. I think they're stronger than what we've seen in the MLS this year. You remember back to 2018 Worlds, this pretty much same squad played there and actually got 2 wins, and thank you, Mr. Buffalo from G2, as we remember.
Yeah, all important Mr. Buffalo coming through with the win for the G2 squad last time here at Worlds. But now you do have to think about what was the performance. Was there any type of benefit from being at Worlds for this roster here and what we've seen from them? Well, actually, their performance this year, I think, is maybe a notch below what we saw at Worlds in that run there. I think that they have shown maybe a little bit less professionalism in their actual play here, but I think that when you are looking at these play-in teams, you gotta put some respect on the Buffalo here because they're gonna make the hometown crowd happy with their performance.
And yeah, for them, obviously the main guy you're looking at is Isurus in that top lane. He got MVP again, back-to-back splits for him, 31 solo kills, Mark. I think you gotta take a step back and think about that for a second. 31. Most guys, you hit double digits and you're happy with that in a split. He absolutely destroyed the Vietnam League, and these guys as a whole, you saw that gold differential. They are destroying the early game. They crushed the entire season. I would be surprised if we don't see them in the main group stage for MSI.
And I think this is an important thing you do mention in that top side with Zeros. This is going to be big for him when we see the meta shifting more so towards tanks here. He still has to find a way to get those solo kills that we've been seeing here, make that skill shine through here, find a way. And I think that what we've seen from a player like that, being able to get these outplays, make the other team put those question mark pings to the top side. Why are you dying to this guy so many times solo? It's the skill. This guy has got to be good, and he's got to bring the performance here.
Yeah, and Irelia, his most played champion, which, as we know, has a whole lot of outplay potential. He's going to be the man to watch on that Buffalo squad. The reason this group is stacked is because you got the second best team in 1907, Fenerbahce, from the TCL. They performed well in the regular season. They obviously won the finals against Supermassive. And we've talked about for a long time that the Turkish league is the closest to these other major regions. And with how well they dominated the split, they've got to be one of the top contenders to find themselves in the main draw.
That is the thing that we have seen the past couple of years with the likes of Royal Bandits, of Supermassive, and 1907 Fenerbahce. This is the squad here that is making their appearance here for the TCL at this MSI, winning this one out here. And you have to be thinking to yourself, well, we've seen Fenerbahce before in the past couple of bits here on the international stage. We have seen them put up reasonable fights here, but not actually able to come away with really anything of note for themselves here. That has to be the goal. This event here to finally kind of make that footmark, make that statement here that you're able to compete and make these type of upset plays against some of these higher level regions.
And the top side of the map is what you want to pay attention to with this squad. Kire and Ruin, both guys who have some LCS experience over in Europe. Kire is a guy who's never really broken out in the European scene, but he got MVP of Turkey here in the regular season, and Ruin was one of the few bright spots with that old Giants roster. They were both part of that all-pro squad in Turkey, and they are one of the main win conditions for this squad, and their mid laner, Balulu, also got Rookie of the Split. So plenty of awards and accolades already for this squad. Excited to see them. Unfortunately for them, they got to go against PVV.
Yeah, that's the thing here. You were expecting when we talk about the Buffaloes, you talk about Fenerbahce, you've been thinking to yourself, oh yeah, this is where we're going to be having the guys that are going to be here at the very end and going to be one of these 2 to 3, the 2 of the 3 that you're going to be getting out of this play-in stage here. But now in the same group, it's not exactly a guarantee whatsoever. Need to be bringing your best performance.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a short event for MSI. Every one of these double round robin group stage games are going to have huge implications for all of these squads, and I'm excited to see Phong and Fenerbahce go head to head in that double round robin. But coming up after the break, there are a couple more teams still in Group A, and it's a chance at redemption for someone like Isurus Gaming. Welcome back, everybody, here to League Unlock. Eric and Mark joining you guys, looking at the teams in the 2019 MSI play-in stage, where we have a ridiculously stacked Group A. We already talked about Fenerbahce and PVB, who are the favorites to win the entire play-in stage and get to the knockout rounds, but they're in the same group. And unfortunately, there are 2 other teams that are stuck in this group. Starting with the winners from the Latin League, which, again, it's not North and South anymore, Mark. It's combined as one, Isurus Gaming.
Oh boy, Isurus Gaming taking down Rainbow 7, finding a way.
A lot of storylines in there.
Oh man, there are a lot of storylines there, especially a lot of revenge here for the players type of situations. And the story here, though, that I want to focus on with Isurus Gaming, gotta be on Seye mid lane. You gotta get this guy has got to make his way through this play-in stage. We've been talking about his team and his success, lack thereof, on the international stage, but his gameplay and his performance is there. It's up to the level we want to see him pop off. Yeah. But it's got to be brought up here with some backup.
Obviously, him and jungler Audi were part of Rainbow 7. Last year when they went to MSI, they were one of the favorites. They got upset by Gambit to get out of that group. They finished 1 game back of them, so a little bit of a disappointment there. So they're back. They already got revenge against their former squad. Here they are back at MSI, and they actually finished 4th in the regular season. So they went on a bit of a run in the playoffs to even get here. And for Isurus as a game, or as an organization, it's been a while since they were at MSI, 2017, and they didn't do so well, but obviously the roster is completely different. But yeah, Seye has dominated the Latin American scene for years now. He's one of the oldest guys in the league. He's been around since 2013 on Lion Gaming originally. So he's looking for some international success. But again, unfortunately for him, he's in Group A.
Yeah, and the really unfortunate thing again for him has really been, it's not really been his performances. Yes, you gotta say, you gotta put some of that onus on yourself to get the results that you want here. But again, in a team game like this, League of Legends, and how things work out, especially on the international stage, when you start having to compare yourself against these other players from other regions, the gaps become a lot bigger here, and it wasn't able to be overcome for Say and the rest of his teammates. Here with Isurus Gaming, you gotta find a way. This is what we've been talking about, and it's not really about this organization themselves. It is more about Say, it is a little bit more about that personal history here, but this should be something that the Latin America region really wants to focus on here and wish that their team here the best of luck, because man, you're gonna need it in a Group A like this.
And I mean, the Latin American scene has been one of the better minor regions, especially now that you've combined North and South to make one region, so you have teams that are a combo of all the best players among them. So you feel a little bit bad, because if they were in Group B, this Group B, I think they have a decent chance of getting out of that one. But again, Group A, going to be rough for them. And the final squad in Group A, the OPL. The Direwolves have been the representative for the last few splits, MSI and Worlds the last 2 years. They've definitely disappointed. I think people are yearning to see the Oceania League live up to some of the hype and really showcase that it can at least compete. But the Bombers, who are going this year, it's not the Direwolves, it is the Bombers, and they're tough. I mean, they're in Group A, they're short out of luck, but they had a lot of hype this split. They completely dominated the regular season and the playoffs. The only squad with 2 Korean imports on the team, and look at that, you win the split.
This is such a rough draw here for the Bombers, because this has been a squad that, you're right, people have been wanting to see the OPL kind of put up one of these surprising performances here as a wild card region, come up here, disrupt the order, and find a way to book your ticket. And that is what people had hoped with the Bombers squad, getting a new team here, new fresh blood here in at this situation to try and do it in the way they'd been playing and performing. Again, 19-2 in the regular season here. This was a pretty convincing effort here from the Bombers that they were the top squad. And this is what you go up against here into Group A. This is not the draw that you were dreaming of.
Yeah, so Mimic and Balkan are the Korean imports here, and surely enough, they were 2 of the standout players on this squad. Mimic got MVP for the top lane, and Balkan got Rookie of the Split in the jungle. So, I mean, you're excited as an OPL fan to see these guys perform internationally, and who knows what happens at these events. I feel like this could easily end up being the OPL's best performing tournament internationally, just because the expectations are so incredibly low going into this absolutely stacked up Group A. But hopefully for them, they can show up a bit.
Hey man, all I gotta say is keep those expectations low, because hey, we might get that upset and you're gonna feel better than you've ever felt before. With an upset like that, I'm not gonna go ahead and call those type of calls there. You can't be picking it, but this is gonna be rough for the Bombers. But I do want to tip my cap here. Getting to this point and the split that they have had does deserve some recognition.
I'm saying 2 wins. They go upset,
Ooh.
maybe 2-0 Isurus or something, but they might squeeze out 2 wins in a miracle sort of fashion. Let's go on to Group B, which, again, the much easier one. Whoever wins this is going on to face Flash Wolves, and maybe the favorite now is Detonation FocusMe out of Japan, the LJL. You remember what they did at Worlds. They finished in that 2nd seed, and they were pretty darn close to taking down Cloud9. Everybody was sweating and worried for them in that 3rd place play-in tournament. So they're coming back with basically the exact same roster. They got a new support in. Vivid is out. So you should have some high expectations for them, because they destroyed the regular season 20-1, clean 3-0 in the finals. This is time for them to make a statement.
Right, this is one of those situations here that we know about the LGL does not really provide the absolute depth of talent that you want to be having here. When you look at that regular season record of a 20-1, it is impressive. And it's impressive to keep winning when you are getting to that level of a record here. But it is something where you do have to consider the competition level. But we do talk about Detonation FocusMe because of the results that they did have last split here, and what you saw from them really making the push here to get ahead of Cloud9 and saying, hey, you're one of these major region teams here, but if you are not on the top of your game, we're going to bring it to you, and we're going to make you sweat here in your seat, trying to see if you're going to get past us.
And they had the unfortunate luck of drawing EDG in that best of series to get into the main stage at Worlds. Maybe if they drew someone like G-Rex, they have a better chance at getting out. Obviously, they lost pretty convincingly to them, but another split under their belt of training and complete dominance, and they are thrilled with this play-in draw because I think these guys are the front runners to get out of groups, and we know there's a lot of question marks around Flash Wolves and the LMS right now, so who knows? Maybe we'll have a Japanese squad in the main stage.
You gotta be happy with this draw for sure in this position if you're one of these fans, because looking at this one, you were expecting yourself to have to duke it out here with either one of the Buffaloes or Fenerbahce, and then even the possibility of having an Isurus Gaming in your group here would make it even more difficult of a task. Right now, it looks like a clean path towards a trip here against the Flash Wolves.
And Group A isn't just terrifying because of the teams. It's the team logos. You got a Buffalo, a Shark for Isurus Gaming, and Fenerbahce is basically another bull. So 2 bulls and a shark, and then an airplane that's going to be dropping artillery on you. That's impossible to get out of Group A, so everyone be thankful if you're in Group B. Coming up after the break, we'll look at the other squads in that Group B. DFM might be the favorites, but who else has a chance to step up? Greetings, salutations, and welcome back to League Unlock. Eric and Mark with you guys, looking at Group B in the play-in stage for 2019 MSI, and Detonation, FocusMe, probably the favorites to take the top spot in that group, but don't sleep on INTZ out of Brazil, and I think most people, including myself, are surprised that we're seeing this squad here because the entire debut split in Brazil was all about Flamengo Esports. They went 20-1 in the regular season, completely dominated every statistical category that you can possibly imagine, but in the grand finals, INTZ took Game 5, but they took it down from BRTT and the boys. And our boy Shrimp.
Yeah, man, this was one of those situations where we're watching Flamengo, man. You're thinking to yourself, okay, like, I'm not paying a ton of attention here. I'm focusing on a lot of the major other regions, but I'm keeping this one in mind. And man,
can't wait to see him at MSI.
That's exactly where you're like, yeah, we're going to see them in MSI. Nope, you're not going to see them because INTZ, we're coming through here, and they're saying, no, we are the ones that are going to represent Brazil here. We're going to be the ones that you're going to be talking about, and rightfully so, as we talk about Detonation FocusMe being this heavy favorite here, I would say, in Group B, given the way that it has split out here. Don't sleep on INTZ because they can definitely find a way to steal some games here and push you to your limits and find a way to get out of this group.
So a couple interesting notes about them. White Lotus is on this roster, but he only played 7 games. It's been Mills getting the majority of the starts for them. He's looked better throughout almost all of the games. White Lotus started towards the start of the split, but Mills came in and has performed at a higher level. But this team, it's all about Envy. In that mid lane, in that finals against Flamengo, he got MVP for all 3 games that they won. And in that 5th game, he pulled out the Ahri and had multiple key charm picks on BRTT's Lucian to get them back in that game because they were losing in Game 5. It looked like Flamengo was going to win it until Envy pulled off some huge picks.
And that's one of the most exciting things here about Envy, playing something like the Ahri, getting those picks here and finding a way to get to that ADC, get to that carry, and get the control there and take them out. That is a skill that you need to be able to have, and especially on a team like this here, where you're going to have to be upsetting some people, making some moves. Usually the way to do that is make an aggressive composition choice here and perform and executing on it, and that's what we've seen from this squad.
And so maybe a little disappointed that we're not seeing what was the best team in Brazil throughout the majority of the split. But in that best of 5, INTZ came up huge. So don't sleep on them because it isn't kaboom. They can actually maybe live up to some of the Brazil hype here. And thankfully for them, they are in Group B. So maybe they can take that top spot from DFM. The other teams here in Group B, you got Vega Squadron out of the LCL. Yeah, that's right. It's not Gambit. Gambit's not back at an international event because Vega took him down.
Yeah, Gambit had to be retired here type of situation here after the last bit. Due respects here for the accomplishments of that squad, but we got a new squad coming in through here for this time.
Squadron.
Hey, that's what we're talking about here, and it's going to be Vega coming through and doing their best to try and upset these 2 squads here that we've already talked about in Group B.
And they went on, a pretty huge run in playoffs. They 3-0'd Gambit in the semifinals, got to the finals against Elements Pro Gaming, who were tied for first with Gambit at the end of the regular season. So they beat the 2 best teams in the regular season and came up huge to obviously qualify for this event. And in their bottom lane, you got Gadget, who his most played Karthus bot. He's played Mordekaiser, Cassiopeia. He's played Lucian. He's played some more normal AD carries, but get excited for him playing some ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, this is going to be fun to see what comes through here in this type of situation. And this is, hey, as we talked about here with INTZ, trying to pick an aggressive composition here. For Vega, I don't know if aggression is necessarily the right way for them to go about it, but we have talked about here in that bottom lane, you're right, having these untraditional, quote unquote, I'm saying untraditional, they're becoming more traditional, as gross as it is to say. The things like a Karthus down there, these type of picks that can still throw people off where, yeah, you're more used to seeing them now than you ever have been in the past, but now you still have the threat here. And if you're playing it right and you're making those skill shots, absolutely the damage will still be there. This is a skill and a set here that you have seen from Vega they can use to their advantage in this group.
So for Group A, you're going to have the most competitive matches, but Group B, you got potential Karthus in the bottom lane, and don't forget Isurus on Detonation FocusMe. His main is Heimer, who he's 5-1 on this split, so we're going to get some Heimerdinger and some Karthus going on.
Oh yeah, hey, you stay to Group A and you're trying to see, okay, who's going to really be the real contender and try to fight it out with the major regions here. You turn into Group B,
Fiesta, baby.
Take some of these Fiesta tips into your solo queue games to look for those easy LP gains.
Yeah, and I just want to see, what is the direct counter to Heimer in the mid lane?
Yeah, there's never
nothing.
a counter, man.
You can't beat it. It is the counter to other things. Either way, going to be a lot of fun games in Group B, even if they're maybe not the strongest teams at this event. The final squad in Group B is Mega Esports, who surprisingly had a Pool 1 seed. I still feel like someone like Isurus Gaming should have had that Pool 1 spot over them, but you won't be familiar probably with Mega because most of their players were from Ascension, who played at MSI in 2018, as you remember. So Rocky, G4, and Lloyd all still with this team. And I mean, they won 2 games in that last MSI, but I would be surprised if they were vying for that top spot in this group.
Right, it seems to me that right now with those players, Rocky, G4, and Lloyd, yes, you do have a good base here from the Ascension team and have seen relative success to a degree. It depends on obviously how much you're really booking here for the success of Ascension at this MSI this past year. But when you do look at this squad right now and the form that they are playing and how they should be looked at towards the rest of this Group B right now, I just don't see them really competing with these squads and the way that you're kind of looking at it as, okay, there's the strength and there's the guys that should be able to compete and challenge you for. I'm sorry, Mega, you ain't Vega. You're not going to be one of the squads pushing the top here.
The Mega Vega Omega-3 vitamin that we're all looking towards. But for Mega, by the way, they also, you got to remember the LST, it's just, they played 5 games. That's their season. It's just 4 teams, and they play that right into semifinals. So they don't have nearly as many games under their belt as some of these other squads as we look at the final group stages one more time. And I'm just going to say it again. Group A is gross, Mark. It's gross.
I'll tell you what, I'm still not happy about it exactly, because I think when you do look at it, I think it robs us of a little bit more depth to this stage here at MSI, this early beginning here part, which is, I think for a lot of people, a really fun type of stage experience and exposure here to a lot of these wildcard regions and some of these players that we do like to talk about on these teams and how they really do carry them here. But really having it split up so heavily into Group A and Group B, I think does a disservice to this stage and what excitement it can bring to the fans at home.
If Phong does advance, I might be biting my nails a little bit more if I'm Team Liquid, because they do look really good. That's all the time today for League Unlocked. Eric and Mark with you guys. We'll see you next time.